Okay, we are rolling. So, first of all, thank you for doing the interview with me.
You're welcome.
Can we just give me your name and a brief history?
Okay, my name is Joanne McDade. I am currently a culinary instructor, vocational technical instructor. You don't want to know the school that I'm at.
Sure.
Okay. I'm working at the Home for Little Wanderers in Clifford Academy. I have worked at 3 different collaboratives before this with at-risk youths teaching culinary arts.
Great. So, what do you do, or if anything, to stay up to date with technologies available today?
Mostly talk to my daughter, who's in her late 20s, who can tell me everything there is techie-wise.
Kids are the gurus,
kids
right?
are the gurus, yes, yes. I've taken a few different professional development courses in how to integrate technology into your classroom.
That was going to be my next question, actually.
Yeah.
What training is available? Is there any training, do you know, from the home?
I haven't looked at those yet. I'm hoping there is something.
No one's mentioned anything about it?
No one's mentioned it yet, but I believe we have a bunch of online courses that we can take, so I'm looking forward to those.
Are there any emerging educational technologies that you're excited about to integrate into your classroom?
I've been using for the past 3 years some of the new apps that are available for students to use, where we can do integrated classroom kind of things, responses. I'm trying to think what the name of, I can't remember the name of them.
Apps are amazing, yeah.
Apps are great.
Yeah.
I started a Facebook page with some of my students a couple of years ago, where they would submit recipes, and we do different tutorials, and we did a little safety video, and they would submit recipes. So we kind of did something that way. We opened an Instagram account to show off some of our things, our product.
The possibilities are endless.
They're great.
Yeah,
they are. And one of the difficulties we have is when kids are allowed to have smartphones in the classroom. How do you integrate that? I did a whole paper on that presentation.
Yeah.
And was using it. It was pretty useful.
It can feel like a tiger by the tail.
It sure can.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sure can.
Especially with our particular type of student. It's a fine line between letting them have, and they can't take pictures, they can't have anything that can take pictures or that could be used out in the public, and so there's a whole quagmire minefield about that. But
and when you're creating a product like you do in culinary, you want them to take pictures, you want them to show it off.
Same thing with art.
Yeah, same thing with art. So it was really tough to work that out in the classroom of how to do it. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't.
Yeah.
It just depended on the mood.
Like anything else, you gotta, jump the hurdles when they get there.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I try to integrate, and I had asked to have an additional computer in here that I could use for lesson plans. But I love incorporating YouTube videos, the Food Network channel. There's a lot of things for culinary to be out there.
So we were saying a couple minutes ago, you were talking about maybe putting in a screen for how would that work for the?
What I had previously was a split screen on my computer, and so I'd have a large monitor mounted up on the wall where the students could be looking at it, and we do everything that way. We do demonstrations.
So you can control it from your desk.
I control it from my desk, right? And depending on the student, I'd let them be controlling it too. But we could also do responses where I could tie that in with their phones, and I'd be having a quiz, multi answers, and they could tap in on their phone on the app. We'd all tie in on the app, and they could give responses.
And did you set all that up?
And through this course that I took was showing me how to do it, so I set it all up, and it was great because the responses could be anonymous. The kids didn't have to, nobody knew unless they wanted them to, and they could respond, and I could see the answers on my side.
And they're not afraid to make mistakes.
And they weren't afraid to make mistakes. It was great, and they could self-correct and say, "Oh, okay, no, let's go back and do it." It was a great tool.
Sounds like you've got a hand on the technology thing.
Tried.
Yeah.
I don't know, I tried. I teach an old horse new tricks. Is that how it goes?
Let's see. Will the benefits of these technologies? No, we'll just move on to the next one. Describe some of the emerging educational technologies that you. So in this class, basically, we've learned this module. We have 1 through 8 modules. So the last module gives a list of types of technology: Smart Table, Google Glass, Google Chrome. So I was interested in the Google Chromebook. Do you know about the Chromebook?
Yeah.
What do you know about it?
A lot of schools are getting them through Google.
Yeah, I think what interested me was apparently they're not they're not Mac and they're not Windows. They're Google Chrome operating system. So with Google being the be all and end all of the search engine, and at the cutting edge of those kind of things, maps and all those types of apps and things like that. So.
And file sharing. I had asked our director here if we used Google Chrome documents, because that's something that we did in other incarnations, and we could do file sharing all the time. I'd set up, we're trying to do cross-curriculum training, and I'd set up what I'm doing for this week, and somebody else could jump in and they could edit it, we could edit it together, we could create a master document. And I did that with students where they would have, again, we had a little bit more access to computers, and they could start a document going with me, and I could go in and make suggestions in different color, and we could exchange right there. It was great.
So
I loved it.
The school has something called the T Drive. I don't know if
I haven't looked at that yet. Okay.
So it's kind of along those kind of same lines. Students can't access it, but you can, a teacher can input, and then other teachers real time will see what they're inputting, and then they can amend or add whatever they want to it.
Oh, good.
So,
okay.
So
is there a communication? Because this last collaborative I was at, I thought it was fabulous, and I guess was it a Google? I think it was a Google document. I don't know actually. It was a document that would be edited in real time, and you could quick jump on your computer and say, JD's having a tough time, just so you know, be on the lookout, he's threatening so-and-so.
Yeah.
And we could all be looking at it, so it was real-time communication without having to do the walkie.
Yeah, I don't think it's that real-time.
Okay.
At Southeast Campus, we just use the phone and text, which, has its pluses and minuses too, because if the students aren't allowed to be on the phones, and then we're just sitting there apparently surfing, and then a lot of DCC staff and others, they do end up just playing on the phone, and so you end up with trying to explain, well, no, I'm just texting, and so we didn't use the text when we were here. It was all just on the walkie. Okay. So the students knew exactly everything that was going on. Yeah.
They hear it, and they all congregate to that room.
Exactly.
Whereas this was so discreet. Yeah. It was, I'm just typing a note. They're used to you going over typing notes.
Right. You could be doing anything.
Right. And they had no idea that we'd be saying, okay, we're locking down on 3 and 3 and 4 are being locked down. Don't send any students out. Hold your students. And they wouldn't have any idea what we're doing.
That might be worthwhile to introduce the the idea.
Yeah.
Certainly, I think that could be a help for our particular situation.
Right. Sorry to get off track there.
No, we're talking about technology, and that's exactly what I'm talking about.
I don't have a smart board in here. I have actually never used one.
Oh.
I've heard great things. Great things. I've observed, but I haven't had one. Get my hands on it. Renee said I'm not going to add one in here. So.
Right. I mean, it's a pretty big investment. When I was in China, I was able to set up my own art classroom, and I had a huge smart board. And for teaching art, it is really, really helpful. I mean, because let's say I'm doing perspective, so I can draw one box in red, and then I can say, all right, step 2, and I'll draw the lines in blue. So when you're looking at a picture of a pencil, it's all the same lines, and they get confusing. But on the smart board, you can delineate which colors and say, okay, pay attention to the yellow colors, pay attention to the blue colors. Yeah, so it was a really helpful, particularly with the Chinese students, because they were learning English as well too. Right. So it's just another clue to them what you're trying to explain to them.
Right. Right. Interesting.
What challenges do you see that might emerge as you work to incorporate new technology in the classroom?
With the population we have, I'm always 3 steps behind.
Right.
Always 3 steps behind with them. setting up firewalls, setting up, privacy. It's just, it's huge.
It's never going to stop.
It's never going to stop. It's just going to keep going. I've already shut down some of my social media accounts because of the privacy issues. I'm done. I'm done.
Particularly here, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just say hello to, if a student contacts you and says hello, you don't want to.
You can't do it.
No.
But even just, all of the stuff that was happening with Facebook, I just said, okay, I'm done. I don't want to be involved in them, anymore. I'm tired of them selling it all.
Yeah, well,
so
that's true.
I think that the challenge for me in my generation is trying to keep up with the youth, keep up with the new youth.
You mentioned them selling it all. That's particularly one of my concerns. Is Google, Amazon. They're all too powerful. They're becoming, countries unto themselves that are just living here in the United States. For tax purposes. But the more this goes on, the more information they have, and they already have.
They already have it.
Yeah.
It's all out there. It's terrifying.
Yeah. So we're just hoping that they're not nefarious and they all have good intentions.
Yeah. Or somebody like WikiLeaks is out there looking at them. Let's hope.
Let's hope. Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah.
Last question: if you could have any technology in your classroom, what would it be and why?
Ooh.
Good one, huh?
Good one.
We already did a smart board too soon.
Yeah, I know. I would like to be able to have an additional monitor. I'd like to be able to have something, that they could see, to be able to access it, the internet, and have the kids do searching that way. I'd love to do that. That's one of my goals here.
So it could be like more than one thing that would really help out.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish there was a way we could let the students have access, and yet have the safety measures in place.
Is there an amount of research that goes into the culinary classes, or is it kind of all hands-on and that's?
I like to incorporate research, and technology is one of the strands. If you look at the curriculum frameworks,
absolutely,
technology is one of the strands there.
And I know every class is supposed to be geared towards that. Art is the same way.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
That's the emerging. That's what's happening.
Right.
So there is a strand. So I don't know how I'm going to incorporate it. I'm looking around here saying there's no computers.
Right.
I don't believe we have tablets available for them, but I'd like to be able to teach them how to access when they're looking something up. I mean, I do the same.
Yeah, of course.
Such and such.
Yeah,
and
of course.
You want to find a new recipe, and I'm doing cultural. I'd like to do a bunch of cultural diversity.
Right.
So have them pick a country, pick an ethnic group, do some research. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to do that. So hopefully we have a computer lab too.
Yeah.
That we could be using. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's going to happen.
Yeah, and if students have their own technology, they could, it opens up the door to do some research on what kind of, is there something you would like to make, or is there some field that you're interested in, or something like that, or the occupational aspects of it, or research jobs, or
so much of it. To give me 5 restaurants within walking distance of your house that you could get a job at.
There you go.
I mean, it's huge.
It can be tied into the VOTEC.
All of it, right? But I'm yet to. That's one of my first questions that I'm going to be asking Renee is, what's going to be my access so I can fulfill that component.
Well, after the interview, I've got all those computers in my room, so it's something we could talk about as far as allowing access there. But
okay.
So thank you so much for the interview. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And signing off.
I hope it's helpful.